Hey everybody, welcome to this special team interview with AJ Risley. Of course, I'm Bobby Cool, Daddy Slick Breeze. AJ Risley, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing just fine.
Now, where are you at? Now, before we start recording, you told me you were in San Francisco. What are you doing in San Francisco?
San Francisco, I'm here for the San Francisco Open. What do you know?
What do you know about that?
Yeah, that's so convenient that they held the San Francisco Open here in San Francisco.
I wonder if, do you think they named it after they put it there or before?
I don't know. I've only been here. I've only had one practice round, so I couldn't. You don't know the history. Quite figure that out in the one practice round I had.
I got you. How did the practice round go?
It was good. Yeah, we're playing at the Glen Eagles golf course, and the disc golf course itself is, I think it's somewhere around 10,000 feet, which, that's pretty big.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah. And, it's a, hybrid golf course, disc golf course style course. But I really like the design. I'm realizing that these types of courses are evolving and people are getting better at, being more creative with the space and the layout of the golf course that they're given. So, we might go to a golf course like this, but we're not just bombing it every chance we get. There's uphill and downhill holes. There's plenty of big trees around here too. So they've made really good use of that. There's lefty holes and righty holes, or at least ones that seem like they favor those, but who knows? So it's great. I mean, my first impression was a good one. It's a great layout, and I'm excited to another practice round, maybe 1.5, who knows, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get my sea legs a little bit more and figure out a game plan. But this should be another great week.
Nice. So that's kind of a debate we see on the internets is you putting disc golf on a ball golf course, but it seems like they've done a pretty good job on this course. But overall, what are your thoughts on using ball golf courses as a place to set up baskets and do some disc golf on?
I like it. It's great. Anytime we can have baskets in the ground is usually a good thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just me coming from Southern California. We don't really have like these, densely wooded areas where we can, go and set up courses and, through tunnels and whatnot. Yeah. So, maybe maybe that's why I have that outlook of, wherever we can play, it's good. But I don't know. I like the style. I feel like my game personally kind of sets up well for that. And maybe it's just I've adapted my game over the years to that kind of style. But yeah, I enjoy I call it the hybrid golf style. I think it's great.
Would you say you'd like to see the sport progress to maybe being more on a private type course? We don't have to call it a golf course, but more the private.
Sure.
And then of course I'm leading into the whole pay to play versus free in public parks and stuff like that. Is that a direction that you'd like to see the sport to head or not?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind it. I don't know if I'd want to see I don't know if I'd really like to see like a full transition.
Yeah.
Obviously I love the history of the game and the fact that some of the oldest and some of the best, most fun courses are in public parks, like you said.
Yeah.
Or at least, semi public parks. The first course that I played and my first home course was Morley Field down in San Diego near Balboa Park. And that's kind of on a public land area. It's that type of course.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. I wouldn't really want to see those go away. because I love, park style golf. It's a lot of fun. But I feel like as far as the big tournament scene and, the national tour and the pro tour and all that, I feel like, it's we need a little more space for the way the game has evolved as far as distance. So we need a little more space for our big tournaments. So, the more the merrier in terms of the hybrid style.
Gotcha. Well, we kind of started the interview with some hard hitting questions, but let's take let's take a step. Whoa, man. Let's take a step back actually and get to know you a little bit more. Tell us what is your disc golf discover story? How did you discover disc golf?
Well, it was with my dad, Alan. He started playing disc golf and throwing frisbees back in the 70s when he was a teenager. He would play catch with his friends around the neighborhood, and they kind of started figuring out, hey, let's throw from here to that light pole or that tree or fire hydrant, whatever. So they kind of started playing somewhat of a golf kind of game. And as the sport kind of grew more and more, he played more and played more tournaments and traveled a bit more. And then when I was born in 91, he took a bit of a break until I was about 10 years old. We played a couple times, but I back then when I was about 10, I don't think I wasn't quite as patient as I needed to be in order, to play and really enjoy it and grasp the concept or catch the bug. So we kind of focused on a couple of other things for a couple of years. And then we tried it again back in 2004. I was 12 years old and we tried it again. And I started to fall in love with it. And we would go out every weekend, like I said, to Morley Field, and we would go down and play a round or two. And that's kind of how it all started. We would play on the weekends when we didn't have work or we didn't have school.
Yeah.
And
now was he more of a, once you kind of got into it, did he like really heavily try to teach you how to play, or did he kind of let you just kind of do your thing and figure it out on your own?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I mean, he kind of, I think he learned his lesson the first few times we went out. Yeah. Uh-huh. And he would tell me that he would try to coach me a little too hard, and that that would kind of make me frustrated. And so he backed off a bit and didn't really, and he never really tried to teach me too many technical things.
Yeah.
But really, a lot of mental and emotional things about the game and how to enjoy it and how to keep my spirits up and be able to play and not get too down when I make mistakes, but then also to realize what I was doing right and enjoy the experiences that we had. Because the first 4 or 5 years that I started playing, during the summers we would go on road trips and we would try to find as many new courses as we could, up and down California and out in Arizona. And so that kind of, really cemented my roots in the game as far as like wanting to play. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, yeah, he didn't really, coach me. We didn't go in the backyard and be like, okay, no dinner until you make 100 putts and then you got to make 20 in a row, nothing like that. And now that I've gotten more into, helping out with clinics and trying to, and answering people's questions and teaching a little bit, I kind of have a hard time finding, figuring out how to tell people certain little technical things, because really I was never taught those kind of things a whole lot. It was really, we just played and had fun and learned as we went, and I learned as I went. And so there wasn't a whole lot of formal training.
Yeah. So when you encounter people that just started and they do kind of ask that advice, do you kind of think that that's the better way to learn it, to just kind of get out there and just practice and trial and error? Or, you see a lot of times on Facebook, these people or even at clinics that I filmed with you guys, I mean, people ask like very specific, detailed question. And I get that. And I get that people learn differently, but as a general statement, I guess, what are some of your first tips you would teach someone that just picked up a disc and discovered disc golf?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Sometimes people they're looking for the secrets right away. And it's tough because, I mean, we have some, but even if we did have these, secret keys, it's really hard to, we can tell people, okay, yeah, when you're stepping, in your X step, make sure your hips are aligned with your rotator cuffs, and make sure you're loading all your weight into your back foot and then pressing on like all these, technical terms.
Yeah.
But, that's only going to do so much good. I tell people, I answer their questions, but then I try to finish it off by saying that, it's all about patience. And, there's the only way you're going to succeed, and the only way that those of us that are talking at the clinics have succeeded is because we've stuck with it, and we've put in the work and so many repetitions. And I feel like that's probably the most important advice I could give anybody is that, you gotta stay positive. I tell people to remember the positive and learn from the negative. And so, that way when they do something right, they appreciate it, and they realize like, okay, that was a good throw. And it wasn't, it's just I need to realize that was a good throw, and remember what it took to make that good throw.
Sure.
And yeah, it's fun to throw a good shot and act cool. Like, oh yeah, I do that all the time.
Right.
But you gotta be able to hold on to it somehow. And I don't know. What was the question?
just a very general, quick, based on the way you learned disc golf, what advice do you give to those people that just started disc golf, and they like you said, they want to know the secrets. They want to know, how does your hip, how do you hold your hand, and where's your hip, and how does your hip rotate, and how fast does it, and where are your feet playing?
Yeah.
It's like, it sounds like your father didn't get that specific with you, yet you were still able to progress your disc golf game. So I just didn't know if that was
some of the most technical things that I can remember him teaching me were really just throw it flat, and remember, and remember, try to think about your nose angle when you're releasing. You want to, and keep your arm up in the reach back, so you're not coming, you're not letting your arm fall down and then throwing it super high in the air.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with new people, it's that cliche, just have fun.
Right.
And it's a cliche because it works, right. and it's true. You got to have fun. And if you want to keep playing, and really there's different levels. So when people are just starting out, have fun, and, and take notes in your head sometimes to see, like I said, what's working and what's not working. And then when you get to that level of playing tournaments and all that, then, then maybe take some of those more serious tips that I'm talking about. But really, it's just like, start playing and get back to me in 10 years or whatever. And then we'll talk more about some technical stuff.
Yeah.
But really there's, I mean, honestly, there's things that I do in the past few years. I've noticed plenty of little things that I do that work that I can't even describe to myself. It's weird. It's like, I'm serious. It's like these little tiny minute things that are happening either in my run up or my pull through or release and follow through, and all these little different things that I couldn't write it down and present it to someone and say, like, here you go. Here's a tip. And that's just how it goes. I think with this game is, you play for so long and you kind of get in tune with your body and how different things affect the flight of the disc. So
yeah. I think that just comes with experience. Like you said, you just got to get out there and play. And experience is definitely a very good teacher. So you became a member of PDGA in 2004. So you would have been what, about 13 years old, right?
Yeah, I think I joined at the end of 2004.
Yeah, and then in 2005, you actually got a tournament in 2005, and all the way through 2007, you were playing some juniors divisions and some amateur divisions. I see there. Was that always your intention? As soon as you joined the PDGA, you're like, I'm doing this to play tournaments. I mean, that was the whole thing. I'm going to, at 13, you were like, I'm going to compete at.
Well, I mean, if you look at those stats, I only played one tournament that year,
right?
In 2005. And then I think in 2006, I
played two,
ventured out and played two tournaments.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, starting off, when I first started, that wasn't the biggest goal. Like I said, all
right, hold on, folks. We lost him. Hold on just a second. He's probably still talking. Give me just a second. I'm going to hit pause on the record, and we should have him back. Hold on.
That was weird.
All right, we got you back now. It just all of a sudden it just said call failed. So, all right. So you were talking about early on the tournament scene for 13, 14-year-old AJ Risley.
Right. Yeah. When I first started playing, tournaments and competing. That wasn't really like the biggest focus. Yeah. The biggest focus that I had, because honestly, I didn't know too much about the whole tournament scene. I wasn't, aware of the top pros or, the national tour or all this stuff. Mm-hmm. I had a little bit of an idea because, my dad had, looked up stuff to see, how the sport had progressed and whatnot, since he had kind of taken a break. And it's funny, we actually had like a few DVDs of like the world championships. I think it was from like 2004 and 2005.
Yeah. And
we'd watch those. But yeah, at first, the main thing that I looked forward to was just playing, and then in the summers playing new courses and traveling a little bit. So that was the main focus. But like I said, with those world championship DVDs, we would watch those now and then, and I saw Ken Climo and Barry Schultz in the 2004 Worlds in Des Moines, and I think in the final nine that year was also, I want to say, Brian Schweberger and Steve Rico, who was live not too far from where we lived, a couple hours north. And then in 2005, we had the next year's Worlds DVD from that Final Nine. I think Ken Klima was in that one again. Matt Oram. Who else? Shoot, I can't remember. But obviously Nate Doss.
Yeah.
And funny enough, Steve Rico had a playoff with Matt Oram to get that last Final Nine spot. So there's another. So and so we watched those, and yeah, I kind of got a little more interested in that.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy how I just had a thought how back in the day you had to wait for it to come out on DVD for the masses to, and now we have people that gripe that that coverage isn't out the very next morning. Yeah,
that's true. It's crazy,
it's a sign of the times, and because the technology is there, people want it, and they and it's good that we have that. I just found it interesting, when you said the DVDs, because I used to produce current tournament coverage DVDs, and it would take a week for me to put the covers together. Of course, I was working a full-time job. Then it would take another week or two before I got them ordered, and then I'd have to send them out anyway. So it's just a side note. Sorry. So
yeah, I mean, there's I think there were a couple years there that, I mean, obviously I think we knew who won the world championship and all that, because we would see it, online. But yeah, I think there were a couple years where we thought there was going to be a DVD coming out, and we were looking forward to it so much, and it never came out, and we never got to see, it's like, oh man, Kansas, I think it was Kansas City that was the biggest one. It's like Kansas City Worlds. Yeah, my dad and I, we've been to Kansas City, and we played some of those courses, and oh my gosh, they were so awesome. And holy cow, like Avery Jenkins and Josh Anton in a playoff. Yeah. They had a sudden death playoff. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see how that happened and everything that happened. It's like, I know who won, but I just want to see what happened.
See how it happened.
And it never came out. And but yeah. And
now you got everybody with a cell phone.
I can't imagine. Yeah, right. I can't imagine how some of these people feel now. All of that, those like months of anguish and torture that we were put through waiting for a DVD. Yeah. Oh man, all crammed into 18 hours for some of these people. Oh gosh, man, I get it. I get why the YouTube comments are so fiery. So what year would you say, as you grew up and played, tournaments here and there, what year did you think in your mind, I really want to get serious and I really want to, because I think I'm looking at like at 2010 you played, or even 2009 you played 8 tournaments, and then 2010 you had, more than that. So what year do you think it was? You're like, I really want to get a little more serious about this. Did I lose you again? I'd say it really started in. No, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. That was a dramatic pause. There we go.
There were different levels. It was, I think it first really started in 2007. My dad and I made a plan to play the amateur worlds in Milwaukee, and we drove all the way out from San Diego to Milwaukee for that, and drove back, and that's kind of like when I first got into more tournaments. But then, yeah, like you said, in 2010, I had bumped up to the advanced amateur field, where I really thought, okay, this is serious for at least for amateurs. And like this is serious. And I started, I think I traveled a little bit and played a little bit more outside my comfort zone, or at least outside of Southern California. Yeah. And so I kind of realized, like, okay, this is, there's even higher that I can go. So I can hopefully, not even just excel through the amateur ranks, but then maybe someday, go pro and play the bigger tournaments like that. So it was there was like 3 years of advanced amateur competition that I had where I traveled around and played amateur events and see how far I could get there, and then just spilled over into the pros.
Now, jumping forward to last year, 2017, you played 37 events. That's a lot of weekends playing some disc golf. How do you I don't want to say deal with that, but how do you make that work? I guess how do you make that work playing so often?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of different aspects to that. I don't know. It all starts from just how much I love the sport and how much I mean, really it just comes down to watching the discs fly through the air. And every time I kind of connect on a really good throw, it kind of sparks, it keeps me going, kind of ignites it just puts a little fuel in the tank. I don't know if there's some analogy that's perfect for that, but I mean, that's really the start of it is that, I love to play, and I love how different each course can be and how each region has its own style. And I don't know, there's something about competition the actual tournament that is exciting and rewarding and really gives me something to look forward to. And then when I first started playing my dad and I would travel a lot, and that kind of feeds into this whole touring lifestyle and really makes me think a lot, back to those days a lot. Those were like some of the best times of my life. And so to be able to live that out week in and week out and just go and discover new places. And, sometimes it's the uncertainty of this whole thing that kind of helps with that. Golf itself is such a great sport because you're forced to stay in the moment.
Right.
And sometimes I'll look at a whole season as one long round of golf, and I'll use that as motivation from week to week, because you started this round in February, and maybe you took a bogey this week, but it's not going to affect the next week or the next hole, so I look at that perspective, and trying to maintain that keeps me fresh sometimes in the mental state when it does get to the 6th or 7th month of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's sometimes it's tough to, I try not to look at it as in that big picture, sense sometimes, because it can be kind of, daunting. We're out on the road here for I think 9 months out of the year. And to, think of that in one sitting can be overwhelming sometimes. Yeah. So, and it's hard too, because there's, like you said, there's, 37 events on the statistics page. I think a few of those might be like series or little one-day tournaments or whatever, but still,
that's still, you're
30,
out playing. Yeah.
Right. 30, at least 33 weekends out of 52. And 20 of those are high quality tournaments in high quality places surrounded by high quality people. So that's one way that I look at it, to kind of break it down, is like, okay, well, it's not just one huge season. We're going to Oregon for the Beaver State Fling, and we got Maple Hill, and we got and oh man, Delaware is great because that course is so challenging. And
Yeah.
oh, where's Worlds going to be this year? You know, and Glass Blown Open. I love that experience is amazing. And so there's all these like different weeks that definitely helps keep me.
But if you had to like narrow it down to maybe one sentence, what would that sentence be that tells somebody what your main motivation is for playing disc golf?
I would say that there's always a chance to improve. There's always something to improve upon. And I think, yeah, thank you for getting to the point. Cause yeah, that's the thing that keeps me motivated to stay on tour and to keep playing, is that there's always something that I can do better. And it,
sounds like we may have lost you again.
but I can go on for days on just off of that sentence.
Yeah. Say that sentence. Say the sentence one more time because it went out. It cut out for a little bit.
Oh, dang it. Okay. Yeah. The thing that keeps me motivated to stay on tour is just the fact that there's always something that I can improve upon.
There you go. So looking more at your statistics page, I see with this latest rating update, you went from 1,008 to 1,011. So you got a rating bump there. So that's got to feel good.
Yeah, it does. It's I mean each one of those 10-point barriers is pretty huge.
Yeah.
And I mean it's funny because different people will look at it different ways, and some people will try to say that it's like, oh, it's, ratings it's just a number. It doesn't really, it doesn't matter. It's so arbitrary. And that's true. I mean, one of my mentors, Ryan Gwillem, who I've known for 12, almost 15 years he told me a few years ago that a player rating it's only a what did he say? Shoot. A player rating is only it only shows what you've done.
Yeah.
It doesn't show what you're capable of.
Yeah. Eric says that a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's so true. And, and you can look at it as two separate positives.
Yeah.
It proves what you've done and how well you've done it. But at the same time, like I just said, you can always improve, and it doesn't quite define you as what what your potential is limited at. So
it sounds like you use it, like you said, you use it as a marker just to say, I've been doing well, but it isn't the end of the story for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, that is how I try to look at it. But at the same time, I take a lot more pride in that than some other people. I mean, maybe not most other people, but, it's great. I mean, it gives us another thing to play for, those ratings. And so I love watching mine, change over, from month to month, and it kind of, fuels my fire a little bit to give me something to work at. And really, I get pretty excited when it does go up and down, because it's been a part of my life for more than 10 years. And so it's almost something that is attached to me. Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah.
So
I feel you.
I mean, to jump up into the 10-10s this past week was huge.
Did you celebrate?
Feels really good. A little bit. I mean, not like a party or anything, but I've got a video that I'm going to post, and later today. So
about the rating update?
Related to the rating update. So
That's
just
awesome.
keep an eye out for that.
I have to keep an eye out for that for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you feel is your weakness in your disc golf game?
My weakness, I would say, I mean, if like off the top of my head, I don't have much of a forehand game. Yeah.
How do you work to improve that?
It's kind of like what I was saying earlier. It's just, patience and just practice and practice and practice and repetitions. And, when I do hit, I've gotten a little more consistent. And I think it's because I'm kind of like getting used to the motion a little bit more and building up a little more strength in it. But I try to realize when I have a good one and realize, okay, like, oh wow, yeah, my elbow came back and did whatever, that was what was good about that. Okay, I'm going to try to do that next time and, focus on that angle and all that. And then vice versa with the negatives. Working on it, I've asked a few other friends who are way better at forehands than I am to give me tips, and some things some things kind of stick, but not every piece of advice. Unfortunately, I'm not able to absorb it as well as I would want.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of goes back to how I first started playing was, I just learned by trial and error, basically on my own with, obviously alongside my dad. And I watched him, and he doesn't really have a forehand either. So there you go. That's the root of the problem.
Right. Dang it, Dad. What would you say though? Okay, so I don't want to just keep harping on your weakness. What would you say a strength of yours is in your disc golf game?
A strength, Anheuser's. Yeah. Anheuser's and touch shots. I think I feel like I've gotten really good at. And I mean, the Anheuser's is simply because I'd never really early on I didn't develop the forehand game. So, there are some times where I was forced to throw Anheuser's and learn that shot that goes from left to right. And so I adapted pretty well. And but yeah, I love throwing like Anheuser touch shots. Recently, in the past couple of years, I feel like I've noticed that my game off the tee has become the strongest point of my game. I feel like I've always had plenty of opportunities for birdie, in tournament rounds, and that just comes from knowing what to do off the tee and being able to execute and just having good game plans when it comes to practicing for tournaments. So
nice.
That feels like now that's the strongest point of my game. I'll look back at my rounds, and it used to be I would come in and talk with my friends about like, yeah, I shot 2 down, but I missed 9 putts inside 40 feet. Like, man, I was, that would be the majority of the stories would be, oh man, I was throwing the disc well off the tee, but I just, I missed so many putts, and my round would have been, so much better right up there with you guys if I could have just made half of those putts that I had. And so luckily, I've gained a bit more confidence in the past couple of years. And so, I've converted on a lot more of those opportunities, but that's always been the strong point of my game, is knowing what to do off the tee.
Nice. I noticed, and if anybody were to follow you on Facebook or Instagram, they would pick up on the fact that you have an obsession with Waffle House.
Yeah.
Tell us the story behind this obsession.
Oh man. Well, it starts back in 2007. I mentioned earlier that in 2007, my dad and I drove out to Milwaukee, San Diego for the Amateur World Championships. And on that journey out there to the Midwest, we made plenty of stops, and one of those was in Kansas City. We stopped to play a course, Waterworks Park, and I think that morning, just me and my dad, and he had told me for years, like, oh, there's, just kind of joking about how Waffle House is funny. It's, there's pictures of the food on the menu. Someone's usually in there inside smoking, and it's probably the waitress or someone behind the grill. And, I kind of, had these like interesting images in my mind of what this place would be, this kind of diner style place. And so I wasn't really sure. I knew my dad loved it. And that there was probably, that I would. I don't know.
Oh, there we go. You're back. You're back now. Sorry, you went away for a little bit again.
Oh, dang.
Just for like a second or two.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was something. It's it's not just the food at that point.
Sure.
And that's kind of how it's grown for me. Is it's not just the hash browns or the bacon or whatever, or the waffles. I mean, the waffles are great. Don't get me wrong. They are heavenly, but it's I don't know. It's something about the experience that you have each time you go into a different Waffle House. It's weird. I like to describe it as each one is so different, but they're all so the same at the same time. The people that work in each different one have, their own, unique personality that you can't duplicate wherever you go. But, every time you step inside one, you feel welcomed, and you feel, and there's nothing like fake about it. There's a difference between IHOP and Waffle House. It's the people at Waffle House. Yeah, the people at Waffle House are real. They'll joke with you. They'll they'll ask you about your day. And you can tell. It's a two-way street. And so I don't know. It's more than just more than just food.
What is
that's where the obsession.
Do you always get the same thing when you go to Waffle What is something? So what is if someone has never eaten Waffle House and they're sitting down with AJ and they say, AJ, order my food for me. What are you going to order for?
Yeah. I'd start with the waffles, of course. Duh. It's not called pancake. It's not the Pancake House. It's not the it's not the Grits House or whatever. It's the Waffle House.
Right.
So get a waffle. Either I go with the pecan waffle, or I'll get mine with chocolate chips and peanut butter. So that's the start. And then the hash browns. The hash browns are great. And you can get a bunch of different toppings on them. So that's usually what I go for. Is I'll go hash browns, and they have fun names too. I go hash browns covered, chunked, and either peppered or country. And in layman's terms, covered has a cheese on it, on the hash browns. Mm-hmm. Chunked has little chunks of ham, and then peppered is jalapenos, and country is sausage gravy.
Nice.
And then there's smothered, which is onions. There's capped, which is mushrooms. You can get tomatoes. I can't remember exactly what the tomato one is. dang. But yeah, those are my two. Usually when I go, that's what I'll get is I'll get a waffle and I'll get some hash browns.
Well,
good to go.
I know that me, Robert, and it was me, Robert, you, and was it just us three or I can't remember. Anthony, that's right. We went to Waffle House, and yeah, it was quite an experience, and I enjoyed the food. So we'll have to go again when we're out on the road together again.
We will. Yeah, for sure.
What we're gonna jump to sort of kind of like a fast round to kind of wrap things up, where I'm gonna just ask a question that is not related to disc golf at all, but maybe help us to get to know you a little bit better. You can give one word answers, or you can explain the answer a little bit if you'd like. So you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you more of a hunter or gatherer?
Gatherer.
Gatherer. All right.
Gatherer.
What do you
Explorer?
There you go. Explorer. That's another good one. What do you think about when you are alone in a car?
Music. Well, yeah, if I'm alone in the car, there's probably music playing.
Mm-hmm. What kind of music?
I'm singing along at the top of my lungs.
What type of music?
There are a lot of different music. I grew up on classic rock.
Mm-hmm.
In the car with my mom and my dad, and so that's a lot of it. I mean, I'm also I like.
Are you a Guardians of the Galaxy guy?
Yeah, I mean they've got a good soundtrack.
That's what reminded me of when you said that.
Yeah.
What was the song when you and I were traveling together? You and Robert had traveled. What was the song that you kept playing every morning when we drove to the course? Do you remember?
It's called. I think it's called Perfect Day.
Yes, Perfect Day.
Perfect Day. And I mean, I couldn't tell you who it's by. I just or like if there's an album it's off of. I just know that it's like those like early 2000s movies.
Yeah,
you know, there's that montage. The montage
it's
when the main character,
day.
Right, exactly. You know, they wake up and they got their orange in their hand and they grab a cup of coffee and they're walking down the street, you know, to their dream job,
right,
or whatever.
And the credits are rolling. It's a perfect day. Nothing standing in my way. Perfect day. All right. What's the last thing you watched? What's the last thing you watched on TV, and why did you choose to watch it? Of course, nowadays it would be
Simpsons.
Oh, The Simpsons. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What do you like about The Simpsons?
Oh man, gosh, there's just so many things, and it sucks because the thing that sucks is I haven't really had a chance to watch The Simpsons that much recently, and that kind of bums me out because it's my favorite show. But man, I don't know. There's just so many things about that show that I love. It's like there's wordplay, there's irony, there's satire, all these different kinds of humor that I really enjoy and that I like to I kind of like to deconstruct and whatnot, and so I can appreciate it better. There's like the plethora of side characters that really add a lot of depth and to the show, and I mean, like the character of Homer Simpson is simple and complex at the same time, and there's like little things that I don't know. It kind of just makes me feel good. Sure, it just makes me laugh without trying, and I don't know. It just makes me feel good. At one point, and I'm pretty sure they obviously still are, because they would continue because they're still on the air, right? I mean, they still make new episodes. At one time, it was the longest running animated sitcom. Yeah. But then at some point, which I'm assuming if it's still going, then it's got to be. It's the longest running sitcom ever. Yeah. And I think I read just yesterday somewhere that they passed Gunsmoke as like the longest running or the TV show with the most episodes.
Wow.
Like maybe like scripted TV show or something like that.
That's crazy.
At like 600 and something episodes.
That's amazing.
And I think they got picked up for their 30th season. So pretty crazy.
That's crazy. Okay. Well, who would win in a fight between Spider-Man and Batman?
Oh gosh. I want to say Spider-Man.
Yeah, you think?
It's a tough one.
You don't think Bruce Wayne's got those cool tools that he could use?
Right. Yeah, it'd be a great battle, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something about the agility of Spider-Man and just like the elusiveness
I got you.
Might give him the edge. I don't know.
All right, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
An ostrich walks through the door right now wearing a pirate's hat. What does he say? And why? What is he doing here?
Okay, if the ostrich can talk.
Yes. Assuming in my little scenario, my little world here, an ostrich could talk.
I would say he says, "Ahoy, matey." In like a pirate's voice.
Well, you can't say it. Say it like you would say it.
An ostrich that's like jokingly says, "Ahoy, matey," kind of like in that way that he says it in a way that says like, "Yeah, I just went aboard a pirate ship and showed them who's boss." Like, yeah, that's right.
And by the way, I'm just an ostrich.
Right. I'm an ostrich and I pulled that off. What's up? In that kind of way. I don't even that's how it would be written out on the script.
Right.
Would be like Bob the ostrich walks in and says in a way that describes that he's much superior than the pirates. Ahoy, matey. I don't know, but And
what is he doing here?
Kind of like an and like, oh, what's he doing? I don't know, but like he's saying it in like an arrogant way, like
right.
I don't know, what's he doing? For some reason I feel like we were like in either like a bar, tavern, or like a diner.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Cheers.
Okay.
Like we're talking about sitcoms, and I'm imagining like, it's like Kramer bursting through the door. And but instead it's an ostrich with a pirate hat, and it just says, "Ahoy, matey." Showed those guys.
It doesn't matter what scenario is happening in the room prior to that. It could be a doctor operating on someone or just an arbitrary scenario, and all of a sudden he just busts in.
But it's like, oh, it's my friend the ostrich, and this is what he did today.
and then once
what trouble is Bob the ostrich going to get into this week?
What's he going to do now? Out. And then slowly fades in. It's a perfect day.
Or whatever, like cheesy 90s sitcom theme song.
All right. So what's something that you are obsessed with right now that is not disc golf related?
Oh, music again.
Yeah.
I've played music since I was like maybe 9 or 10.
I didn't know that.
I played the trumpet through like a little bit in elementary school and through middle school, and when I got to high school I switched to the tuba, and I had bought a guitar and kind of taught myself how to play.
Wow.
Throughout middle school and high school, and so I was in the concert band and the marching band throughout high school, and so and then going into college I minored in music technology. And so I've been away from making music for a little too long now, and so that urge has kind of been creeping into my brain more and more. So
you like that as kind of a creative outlet?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, either I don't have a guitar with me,
Yeah.
on the road, and I'm kind of missing that. And I don't have any like keyboards or any way to make music. And I've thought about it a lot in the past few weeks about like, oh man, it'd be fun to do that in my spare time and see, you know, what I could come up with. So
I'll get you one of those little Casio keyboards, a little synthesizer.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I would honestly, that would be, what I would do when I'm not golfing or driving I would turn it on and just play who knows what.
Nice. All right. Well, we've come to the end of our interview. Thank you, AJ, for letting us have a little slice of your life. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you want to get out there and get practicing for the San Francisco Open. So, and of course, we wish you the best of luck at that tournament and every tournament beyond. If people want to follow you, because I know you're fairly active on Instagram, how do they follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Risby Jr. That's RIZBEEJR, no spaces. Usually have something fun and lighthearted that I'll post kind of to give you an idea of what's going on day to day.
Yeah.
In my life.
Plenty of waffle pictures as well. If you are into waffle pictures, you'll want to follow Risby Jr. for sure. Yeah,
I just posted one before we started talking. So, yep.
Okay, now this one's funny too. I got it.
Facebook too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll talk about after Facebook. Same thing. Risby Jr.
Yeah, I mean, or AJ Risley.
Oh, you can use your name.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't really have like a fan page or anything like that. I think my page is public, so you can
follow
check that out.
Yeah, you can follow it. No, I was going to talk about this Instagram post. You have a post from De La where it's a pile of pine cones. And then there's one lonely rock there, and the caption is day 5 and nobody has noticed that I'm not a pine cone. As if we just suddenly just a quick piece of this scene, and it's actually day 5 that this rock has fooled all the pine cones around him, and not one pine cone has discovered the truth.
Yeah. It was like, we were playing and I like looked over and there's this log or something, and there's on the log, there's a bunch of pine cones and like pine needles and all this. And then there's just a rock kind of in the middle of all those. And it just was weird how the rock ended up there amongst the pine cones. And so it's kind of like those pictures of, like a dog that's in like a group of sheep or goats or something, and it's like oh, they don't notice there.
Where is he at? We lost him again. There you go. Are you back?
No. I'm here.
We lost you again for a second. We'll let you go. So there seems to be kind of a rough connection here. We'll let you go so it doesn't get too bad. But real quick, something I've always asked our interview people is, what's a question that you have for our listeners? It can be anything. Doesn't have to be disc golf related. It can be anything. But what's something that you've always wanted to ask a group of people, a mass group of people, probably a few thousand people that listen?
Wow, that's a tough one. I don't know. I think it would be, what
Wow, we dropped you at the most important part. We'll get him back here in a second. Just got to hang tight.
Gotcha.
There we go. Well, we got you back. Real quick, what's the question for our listeners? And we lost you again.
Am I talking too loud?
I don't know. Now you're back.
Okay. All right.
Real quick.
Take.
Nope.
3.
There we go. Back. Are you moving around or?
I don't think so.
Okay. Go.
Okay. What do you, the listener, want from us, the professional touring disc golfer? Because I feel like our sport has grown to a point where, and with the landscape of disc golf media and how available it is and everything that you can consume, the professional disc golfer and the touring disc golfer has become somewhat of an entertainer. And so really going forward, if there's something that we can do that the listeners and the viewers enjoy more than other things, let us know. And so we can build on that and just make you happy.
All right. Well, AJ, I'll let you get to some practicing, and thanks again so much for letting us talk to you for a little bit. And I guess I'll see, hopefully I'll get to see you here pretty soon when I get back out on the road to hit up some events.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. I love seeing you guys out there. It's a lot of fun, and it helps us as the team members to have something that we can connect to.
Absolutely. All right, man. Take care.
All right. You too.
All right, bye.
Bye.